Alright guys, it is Wednesday, August 18, 2021 at 7:58 p.m. Alright, let's start with a Bible verse. We have from dailyverses.net, verse of the day. Then Jesus told him, "Because you have seen me, you have believed. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed." John 20:29. Alright guys, let's start with the National Hurricane Center. Here we go. We have Fred over Pennsylvania, remnants of Fred, with maximum sustained winds of 25 miles an hour, minimum central pressure of 1,014 millibars, located at 40.8 north and 79 west, movement northeast at 50 miles an hour. Fred is pretty much bringing a lot of rain to the northeast right now, and heading northeast at 15 miles an hour. Alright, then we have Henri, Tropical Storm Henri with maximum sustained winds of 60 knots or 70 miles an hour, minimum central pressure of 995 millibars, located at 29.9 north and 67.6 west, movement west at 8 knots or 9 miles an hour, and Henri is doing something rather strange. It is turning in a loop and possibly heading into the northeast area of New England and New York, Maine area. So we'll check out the chart in a second. Then we have Grace, Hurricane Grace, with maximum sustained winds of 70 knots and 80 miles an hour, minimum central pressure of 992 millibars, located at 19.7 north and 83.7 west, movement west-northwest at 14 knots or 16 miles an hour. Grace is heading over the Yucatan Peninsula and into the Gulf. So let's take a look quickly here at what we have for Tropical Storm Henri. Henri is possibly heading into the New England area. It says the forecast track of Henri has shifted toward the northeast coast of the U.S. this weekend and early next week, increasing the risk of direct storm surge, wind, and rain impacts in portions of the northeastern U.S. and Atlantic Canada during that time. Interest in these areas should closely follow the progress of Henri and check for updates to the forecast. Says swells from Henri will begin to reach much of the east coast of the U.S. and Atlantic Canada by the end of the week and continue through the weekend. These swells could cause life-threatening surf and rip currents. Let's take a look at the warning cone and static images. Here we go. We have Henri, Tropical Storm Henri, forecasted to be a storm until Thursday 2 p.m., then forecasted to turn into a hurricane by 2 a.m. on Friday and 2 p.m. on Friday. Saturday 2 a.m. off the coast of North Carolina and South Carolina. By 2 p.m. on Saturday, a hurricane off the coast of North Carolina. And then it turns into the cone of uncertainty, which as you see here by 2 p.m. on Sunday, 2 p.m. on Monday. Still a hurricane by 2 p.m. on Sunday, possibly, and heading towards the New England, Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine area. So New York, as you see here, the island of New York, in the cone of uncertainty, so we don't know exactly if it's actually going to do this and head into the northeast, but this is a possibility for it to turn and head there. Alright, it says the center of location is 29.9 north and 67.6 west. Maximum sustained wind 70 miles an hour and movement west at 9 miles an hour. So Henri, storm, then hurricane, then possibly storm again as it reaches the coast of Massachusetts. Who knows the strength of the hurricane, but it's going to be quite interesting to see what Henri's going to do. Alright, let's take a look at Hurricane Grace. Hurricane conditions are dangerous. Storm surge are expected in portions of the hurricane warning area in the eastern Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico beginning late tonight or early Thursday. Preparations to protect life and property should be rushed to completion. There is an increased risk of hurricane conditions and dangerous storm surge in portions of eastern mainland Mexico beginning late Friday, and hurricane watch will likely be issued for parts of this area tonight. Throughout the weekend, heavy rainfall across the Cayman Islands, as well as portions of the Yucatan Peninsula and Veracruz states, should lead to flash and urban flooding. In addition, the heavy rainfall from Grace will be capable of producing mudslides in Veracruz. So let's take a look at the warning cones and static images for Hurricane Grace. As you see, it is 8 p.m. on Wednesday. It is below Cuba. It will be forecast a hurricane as it reaches the Yucatan Peninsula. So there's hurricane warnings along the Yucatan Peninsula and tropical storm warnings as well along the Yucatan Peninsula. It will be a forecasted storm by 2 p.m. on Thursday, a storm at 2 a.m. on Friday, and then a hurricane again by 2 p.m. on Friday, which I am not surprised because the Gulf of Mexico is pretty warm. And that warm water will give it strength again to become a hurricane and intensify. So hurricane at 2 a.m. on Saturday, then a depression by 2 p.m. on Saturday once it's well inland in Mexico, and then on the cone of uncertainty, we have it being a depression by 2 p.m. on Sunday as it possibly reaches the Pacific and the western side of Mexico. All right, so let's take a look now at the forecast. This is the GFS, and this is Fred right here in the northeast, bringing plenty of rain. This is Henri out in the Atlantic, and this is Grace out here below Cuba and by the Yucatan Peninsula. Let's take a look at the forecast models to see what will be happening. Alright, we have Henri and Grace hitting the Yucatan Peninsula at 1,000 millibars, then Henri at 1,002 millibars out in the Atlantic. Then it reaches 994 millibars, Henri, as it turns outside the coast of North Carolina. Then it keeps going north, 980 millibars, so it's increasing in strength. Then 981 millibars as it reaches the outside coast of Massachusetts and New York. Let's zoom in there so you guys can see. Look at that. Alright, so it's right outside the Massachusetts, New York coastline at 981 millibars. That is what the forecast model is showing. Alright. So let's keep playing, see what else happens. Alright, 987 millibars, and it gets closer to Massachusetts. Then it reaches 1,002 millibars as it's outside of Maine. And then it goes into Canada. Alright, so that's what the forecast models are showing for Henri. I don't know exactly what's going to happen with Henri because it could veer west, or it could veer more east and head up more into the Atlantic, or it could veer west and hit either North Carolina, Virginia, and then scrape up the coast to Massachusetts. But we don't know. That's something that we have to keep an eye out. So keep an eye on Henri. All right, this is Henri. Tropical Storm Henri right now in the Atlantic. This is the screen of it, the infrared loop of it in the Atlantic. Let's take a look right now. This is Fred over Pennsylvania and parts of New Jersey as it's bringing all that rain to parts of the northeast right now. Alright. Then we have, this is Grace below Cuba. Hurricane Grace below Cuba, and as you see, look before, even before Grace reaches the Yucatan Peninsula, look at all the rain already reaching and storms being there. So once Grace reaches the Yucatan Peninsula, mudslides, strong winds, rain. So heads up for the Yucatan Peninsula, as well as parts of Cuba and below Cuba, all the islands in that region. All right. Next, this is Grace, and this is, as you can see, take a look at Texas. There's no hurricane there, but look at all that rain and storms happening in Texas. Alright, and then take a look down here at the Yucatan Peninsula. Rains and storms already popping up before Grace even reaches the region. Alright, let's take a look at the spaghetti models for Henri. These are the possibilities of Henri when it turns. We don't know exactly when it will turn, but these are the forecast models for it. The possibility of it reaching the Massachusetts, New York region. There's also possibilities of it just going out to sea and not touching land at all. So we have to be aware that Henri could turn. It could either go into North Carolina. It could just miss North Carolina and just go into New England. Who knows what it's going to be doing? Then we have all the rain coming from Fred going to be affecting the whole Northeast even before Henri gets there. So that's something to keep an eye on. As well as Grace bringing all that rain and possible mudslides and storms to the Yucatan Peninsula and Mexico region. So stay aware, stay prayed up, pray for each other, and pray for the people possibly going to be affected by these storms. And God bless you guys. Hit like and subscribe for more news, and see you guys next time. God bless you guys.